Okay, this is me going over the practice problem 14.9.p, and this is a practice problem going over how class variables and instance variables can interact with one another. So the idea behind this problem is we're designing a very basic system to keep track of bank accounts. So we're using that with an account class, but the account class has a class variable called total money that starts at 0, but it keeps track of the total of money in all of the accounts. So if we were to have 50 accounts that had different numbers of their balance, this total money needs to get updated to keep track of what the total amount in the entire bank is. So let's just get started here. Let's start by creating an account class with this class variable, instance variables, and we'll write the methods for it. So we might do that after we start writing the class. So let's get going here. So we always start with the word class if we want to make one. We give it a name, and then usually put class variables at the top of a class. You don't have to, but that's pretty typical. So let's do one called total money. And at first that's going to equal 0. So we'll do that. And then we want to have methods. So we're going to have one for depositing as well as one for displaying the balance. But before we do that, let's just make the constructor so that we have some instance variables. So we'll do init, we'll throw self in there, and we also want the account holder, the name of the person opening the account, and their balance, which we can assume might be 0, but we'll just do that there. Oops, left out the semicolon. So let's do self.account holder is equal to account holder. Okay. Self.balance is equal to balance. Okay, so anytime someone makes an account class or an instance of an account or an account object, those all mean the same thing, they'll pass in their name and a balance, which if they don't pass in a balance, it'll equal 0, but they might pass something in, and that'll get assigned to the instance of account. But because we want the class variable of total money to update every time anyone's balance might get updated, we're going to just add a another little calculation over here. So we could do plus equals, that'll do it, but maybe just to be extra clear on what's going on, I'm just going to write it out twice. Plus balance. So this is saying, okay, if we start at 0, this is equal to 0 here. Add whatever they put in there and make that the new value for the class variable of total money. So if here we have the name of the class is account. This is a class variable. These are the instance variables, and this updates the class variable. Okay, cool. So we have other methods that we want to add in there, but let's just make sure that this is working. So let's do account1 is equal to account, and this is Jacob, and let's say I'm depositing 5,000 in there. So we can print out account dot total money, and that will work if I don't misspell it. There we go. And then let's print out the same thing, account dot total money, just to see what's going on here. And why not? Let's make a second account too. Jane, she puts in 10,000. Let's print it out here. And whenever you're solving a problem, it's probably best to just do it piece by piece. So let's add a breakpoint. We'll just step through what's going on. So we're making our class, we're defining everything in there. We can print out the total money, which right now is equal to 0 because we haven't done anything yet. But then if we make an account object, it's going to come in here. And it's going to pass in the name as well as the balance that I overrode 0 with, so 5,000. So that's currently what the balance is. It'll get assigned to the accounting one object. But before the constructor ends, we want it to update this total money variable. So we access that here. So total money right now is equal to 0, but balance is equal to 5,000. So the new value of total money after this is run should equal 5,000. So let's run that, and then let's print that out, and there we go. You see it's at 5,000. Then if we do the same thing with Jane, where we're adding her in there, right now the total money is equal to 5,000, but Jane is bringing another 10,000 to it. So after we run this, total money should be 15,000, right? Yep. So it's working so far. Then let's just add the other methods. So it says to do one for depositing or withdrawing. So that should work. And then for displaying the balance, it prints out the account holder's name and current balance. So we already created 2 instances of the account class. We just need to withdraw and deposit and then display the total money at the very end. So let's just start writing those methods here. So let's do one called deposit, if I can spell, or withdraw. And like any method, that's going to accept self as the first one. And then we also want to pass in amount there. So let's go here. Then let's see. So we want to update balance is going to equal self dot balance plus amount. So that's going to update the instance that calls this method. It's going to update their instance balance, their instance variable of balance. But we also want to update the class variable of total money. So let's do account dot total money is equal to basically this code we're repeating here, but instead of balance, we've called it amount here. So let's just make sure that we have that there called amount. And why don't we go and check this actually. So let's say we start out with 0, we add 5,000, that should equal 5,000. But then account 1, which is Jacob, calls deposit or withdraw. Let's say they put in another $30, a pretty small deposit. We can print that out. And then just to test out that negative amounts are working correctly. It should, but let's just let's make sure that's working. And we can do the same thing with Jane. We'll do account 2. She deposits 60, and then she withdraws I don't know, 70. Okay, and we're printing that out. So let's just set a breakpoint here and walk through and see if this is working as we expect it to. So we have 0, we're making that. Then we have 5,000. Let's see if depositing is working. So let's step into it. So we're going into here. Self represents the object that called the method. So we have Jacob with a balance of 5,000. Then we have amount that was passed in 30. So Jacob's balance should be updated now as 5,030. And then the account money should get updated with that 30 as well. So now the total money is 5,030. Then we're taking away 30 right afterwards. So we can jump into that. And it's just adding a negative amount. So it's just like it's subtracting it. So that should be back down to 5,000 when we print it. So cool. Looks like it's working. Yeah, so she deposited initially 10,000, then another 60. So then we print it out. So we add that to the total, then we're subtracting 70. So it's working like we wanted it to. Then let's just add this final one, and that is display balance that prints the account holder's name and current balance. So nothing too crazy there. Let's do display balance. Self, like always, needs to be the first argument. Let's do, and we could print it directly, or we could return it. Let's just print it directly. That seems simpler for this example. So I'll do an F string just to make it easier to add the variables in there. And it said to, what did it say to print? Just their name, account holder. Let's put their name. So that's going to be self dot account holder has self dot balance. Let's say it has a current balance of like that. Cool. And then just at the very end, let's call these just to make sure they're working. So account 1 can call display balance, and so can account 2. So let's step through like we have been doing. Updating, and then yep, Jacob has a current balance of 5,000. Jane has a current balance of 9,990. So there you go. That should satisfy all the requirements. I displayed the total money, I guess, before displaying the individual balances, but that still works. You could just switch that if you wanted to. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions.